Welcome to the Real Double Dose Channel broadcast station, focused on the real reels of real life, love, growth, and of course, elevation within all levels. RDDC is exactly the place where anyone can discover more depth, love, light, and clarity within themselves, and elevate from other people's walks of life, conversations, and questions, along with deeper insights. So tune in and be a part of the Double Doses with Lexus T and RDDC.
Hello, my wonderful, loving, and amazing RDDC family. And this is your host, Lex, and that's also at Lex Effect Coaching that we're going to be rolling out soon. But this is Lexus T coming at you with the RDDC, the Real Double Dose channel, where we keep the talk real. So if you want to have the official intro, let me do the welcome back to the Real Double Dose channel, where the talk is real and the vibe is live, right? We're coming from our hearts and beyond. And this is what it is. If you're on here looking for any other, I guess, syndications that we're our platforms, YouTube rollout is coming, as well as I know you've been hearing it for a while, but got to get things organized. But we have the Spreaker.com, TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, iHeart, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Pandora. I want to say, it's a whole multitude. Okay, I want to say SoundCloud, different ones that range up there, and it's really a list on there. But you can find it on our website. Go to realdoubledosechannel.com. That's www.realdoubledosechannel.com. Also, we see you on there checking out some things at www.spiritandmindelevation.com and many other things to come, as well as realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com. You can check out our past guests and different insights that can maybe uplift you and get some things done. Either way, welcome back to the Real Double Dose channel. This is your host, Lex, coming at you straight from the heart where the talk is real and the vibe is always live. We're happy to have you on here as always, and I'm going to get to the double doses because it needs to be said. There's a lot of things from the adversary and the other things of negative energy trying to keep these forces as well, trying to keep conversations from going. But you know what? God is the only glory that I have, and is not going to stop me, even from the minions. Let me repeat that. The minions out there trying to take dominion out there. Can't be done. So this conversation is something, and I can't apologize for it because it's reality. Where it's real. I mean, the fans going, the AC was on, different stuff, and I like to keep it cool and relaxed. I drew the shades in my pre-made Essequa studio when we're getting cosas así, right? In Spanish, things like that. We're getting those things together to make everything roll out more. So I hope and I pray that you continue on. Thank you for your love, support, and so much. So let's get into this conversation. And I hope that all your lives are blessed, and just know that my prayers and my love are always with you, and that's continual, no matter what. I know a lot of people say a lot of things, but that's not me. So let's get to this conversation that's very deep and rooted. And I also have some different understandings of the scripture to maybe hone this in deeper, because at the end of the day, regardless of where you want to go, it's not about denomination. It's not about what you want to salute to. It's not about any of that. It's about truth. And the only recording that we have of truth in our initial, well, creational being here is through the Bible. There's other forms of text and documents, just ancient things of old. But we do know there's a creator that made us. Our blood is pumping, our hearts and our lungs, everything's going, and we have to give homage to what is. That's your choice. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. You can feel free to continue on to listen to more other episodes, but you're always going to find God's love, because that's what it's all about. Either way, this conversation is called hashtag the taxation of love. And like the other synopsis I was having, this is going to be a little bit into some of my notes. And I know text to speech is not the best, but when I'm flowing like that, even with my transcript now, Google Pixel Pro, we love you, okay? But doesn't matter what kind of machine you have, it's still going to be a little faulty. But the taxation of love, let's get into this. Why is it that even though Christ paid the ultimate price and sacrifice, and if those who don't know who Christ is, you are always welcome to look up the Holy Bible online. It's free, King James Version or New International Version of its more, quote, modernized conversation, and learn about that and take the journey yourself. If you can watch a movie, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, whatever, You have time for that. I love my Prime Video. Just saying. Hashtag Amazon. No sponsorship, just my own heart. I'm just saying, the taxation of love. Why is it that even though Christ paid the ultimate price and sacrifice to give his love and his life for us, coming in human form, that we seemingly make others jump through hoops just to prove that kind of love that we know we will never find outside of God and Christ themselves, right? Himself as one embodiment, the Trinity. Why do we make people go through hoops when we're not willing to even see basically the scope of things for ourselves, let alone give away our love to someone else, pretending and making up fantasies in our minds that if that person would just only prove themselves, ultimately, we would give ourselves to them. Is that true? But then again, we also know it wouldn't be true love because we had to push them to those brinks just to get a glimpse of a tainted kind of love. We know, okay, we will never obtain because we are in the flesh. And here, human faults will always be before us. But why do we tax on love? Why is the taxation on love? I want everybody to ask themselves that. Why do we tax on love? And I'll break it down here in a minute. Give your girl Lex some time to be with you at her best. Just like the apples, okay, the apples that grow on the fruit trees and the orange trees and all those things upon the earth that has been made almost illegal to grow any crops or even get a garden in your backyard. We get taxed by these things instead of, or some of us go to the supermarket, even though we're given out that kind of love and free abundance of food for free. People say pesticides, this and that. Yeah, we know. It's supposedly, it's supposed to be keeping us safe from the ground, but it's kind of funny how we can grow it right in our backyard and taste 10 times better than anything else. And avoid bugs no matter what you do with your food. And even chocolate has about what, 50-60% of bugs. I mean, protein. That's what happens. Google it, as Edward Cullen would say from Twilight. Google it. Why? So why does someone have to pay for our love when God has ultimately given us that love to give freely, as he has also given the ultimate sacrifice and our sacrifices to trust that love, even if it is a sacrificial pain or setback, to move forward. So let me break that down. I see, and I just had a conversation with a person that's very near and dear to my heart. And I realized that throughout my tears and throughout the journey, that no matter how much I love, it's not the point of me wanting something to say, I did this for you, I did that for you. People are so quick to say, oh, you throw stuff in my face. No, but if you don't remind them, if you don't remind someone, hey, okay, let's say for example, we're gonna get on a little cusp here to bring everyone from all walks of life to this conversation because it's not gonna hit different, it's gonna hit different for everybody. But if you're in a conversation or you're in a relationship, right? Wife, husband, or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it might be, and you're sitting there and let's say you forgave them for doing something, whether it be spending up the money in the bank, infidelity, whatever it might be, taking the kids and leaving them at the park for too long by themselves, whatever. Now, if that thing comes up, now you can assume in your mind, right? Assumptions make you an ass, as my mother would like to say, profanity wise, but donkey ass. You still get that kind of feeling. It's like a war scar. And you're thinking, man, this person is going to the same store that they got caught up in. They're doing the same pattern that, I noticed. And even though it hasn't went 100% all the way, we get to the point of where we're like, hey, I don't really like, you bringing the kids to this park and it seems like you're bringing them there. And even though you're kind of watching them, you're on your phone. Somebody could come up and take them, right? Or I don't like you going, I really don't feel comfortable with you going to this certain supermarket where this person used to work, or you found yourself going into mischief and we had problems because of it. Whatever it might be. Or I see you making the same ingredients for something for dinner and that gave me a huge allergic reaction. I almost died. Now, obviously, if a person loves you deep enough or they just don't have common sense, which ain't so common, they wouldn't be doing those things anyway to trigger off that mode. And that's a self-centerment mindset, not forgetfulness. You don't forget when you hurt someone, right? And if you really love them and carry that, you don't forget it because it also becomes your hurt, let alone the reason of why that hurt became. So that's what I mean by you have to have remembrance. And even God says, do this in remembrance of me. Not the fact that you'll forget him, but the fact that you're honoring that presence. So when I say the taxation of love, why do we tax on love? I notice that. And going back to that conversation I have, there's many people in walks of life, but sometimes you can sacrifice. Listen to me, RDDC families. I know you feel it when I say it because it's true. You sacrifice so much for the loved ones in your life, and you don't do it so you can give me, I did this, and qualms of, hey, IOUs. And it's kind of like, yeah, I want you to know that I love you. I want you to know that I put that food on the table for you. But you don't know if I went through lunch without food just to make sure you had that. I gave you my last 20 for gas, knowing that I needed to go get my bus ticket to go to work when you couldn't even give me a ride. But I did that for you, not so I could say that I did it, but because I love you so much beyond the capacity of what I can understand. And get this very clear. There is a difference between infatuation or just ignorant love and ignorance in love. When you blatantly know someone, sometimes we can wait for that person or things to change, but when you blatantly know it's just not it, a person's just constantly throwing in your face that they're doing this and that, and it's treating you like garbage. Come on, you need to exit that situation. Contact us at Real Double Dose Channel at yandex.com. That's yandex.com. We'll give you some really good guidance. And there's other hotlines in different places or your local community to basically reach out to if you're in a situation you feel it's a harmful one. The domestic abuse hotline, which we should actually have that going on here soon to post up, as well as the National Suicide Hotline, just in case, 24 hours a day. But I just want to put that disclaimer out there. You can't always try to figure it out. And, like my abuelita, my grandma says, there's more fish in the sea. And that's true. And people, I don't want to start over. I don't want to go to the next person. And sometimes it's not about starting with a new person, but opening more doors for those who could open more doors for you in the process of you healing and opening up the door with more clear mind and clear sight. Then it's also the time where you don't have to get into another relationship just because you leave one as a situationship. Everything is not a relationship. It should be about the whole entering of having that God aligned fruitfulness within you. Get to know yourself, get to know God, get to know the divinity that's been put into you to keep you breathing and figure out why you're still on this path. Not hobbies and this and that, the depth of what you feel, the quietness in your mind, the focus. And for me, it's been more so having a little bit of a human experience, should I say. A lot of people say, oh man, you're too much of a godhead, you're too much this, and I never felt any insult from it. I still have, like I said before, people can provoke bad language, provoke different things in you, or me, I'm a sponge, so I soak up a lot of things, and you can find yourself saying things, rather it's road rage or irritation, or just things that try to get in your system that don't belong of God. So I'm going to say that again. The taxation of love also comes into, why are we so willing to over the top.com with someone else? Why are we so willing to give? And even if that's that rooted love, you will Lex, well, that's that rooted love you're talking about. Yeah, well, at the same time, there's a taxation of it. We even expect people to go over the top. Somebody will say, oh, well, that's our kids, or this is this, we give that love to them because they belong to us. But what about the other bodies of us? Christ is the vine and we are the branches, right? So I look at that and I'm like, what about that? Like, and in the movie Noah, I'm not sure where that was going with Russell Crowe. It was a pretty good movie. It came out some years ago, I think, but I was watching that, and obviously it's not a depiction of the Bible. They had to do their Hollywood spin on it and conversations. And I'm not endorsing them again. But I look at that, and he was speaking to his wife in a scene, and he said, aren't we evil too? Like, look at us, like we'll kill and do whatever we have to protect our children. Why? Because they're our children. But when it comes down to it, is that true love? Is that really a clean heart? Is that really a renewed spirit? The fact that we'll make an excuse or give a validation of why we can hurt someone or kill someone or be a certain way because we're trying to protect our own. But then look at that, the love that we give our child because they came from our body. A lot of them grow up hating, mass murderers, rapists, whatever else, hurting children. And a lot of them come out very fruitful. You never know how it'll drop. So some people have a stigma like, oh, I don't want to adopt. I don't want to do it. I know a lot of friends that adopt, foster care, great children. We don't know the seeds that we have alone from our own body or our own lineages. So let's not cast judgment on those out there who are looking for love too. And even though they find themselves in the wrong places, you still can make the right one, even though it was not their choice. And I'm still looking into that myself, even though I haven't biologically had my child or got a chance to touch on a man, or vice versa. When that journey comes, I would love to, look into opening up a huge refuge of loving all the children from every color, every shape, every size, every background, and to having pancakes in the morning with their mama legs. Okay. That's been my, since I grew up looking at those stories and those things you hear about Old Mother Goose, or the lady who lived in a shoe and all the kids ran around. I love that. I was like, I want to have a whole big shoe house with kids running around just happy, just to be able to wake up every day and smile and know that someone loves them. So that's a page from my book. But I also say we get to that point of where we feel like love has to be taxed on. Well, I will, and I'm saying for you, thought. So people out there who want to act like it's just a video vixen, or I look like this, or I have this going on, or this person gave me this. That's nothing though, because if you have to boast about what you think you have, you don't have it anyway. And what you think you have is only on a material basis. And I know, looking over the bodies of my brother, my sister, my dad, my uncles, my other abuelitas, it you can't take nothing with you here when your flesh and your breath goes back to God. There's nothing that you'll be able to take with you in that physical realm at all. The people who are here are left with your memories and some things from you. What else? So galley up on it all you want and make the world pretend that you're in the taxation of love yourself, where people are just so attracted to who you are, they have to give to you. But ultimately, the ultimate lover is the one that sacrifices the most. Not, and maybe I go too far with it to where I literally, have no shade against, high sodium noodles, but I will go eat, ramens right back in the time too. And I would just go eat a pack of ramens for lunch and just borrow someone that last $50 I had, knowing that I knew they wouldn't come back with it. And I guess in deep down inside of me, from different things that I've done, I heavily invested over people the last, all my life, but literally the last 12 years, maybe like the last 15 years, a lot, is I look at the fact where, it's like the 12 lepers in the Bible. You kind of look for someone to just be themselves, right? And you're hoping that true authenticity is them coming back and just saying, thank you, man. Thank you, lady. Thank you for just being there. That's cool. Like, I don't even like thank yous, really. Just a hug or a humble smile, just the warmth inside. So let me get to this real quick so I can give you some more context. Now, I might be there, but I want to look at Colossians 3, verse 14 in the Holy Bible. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Okay, that's Colossians 3, verse 14. Now, listen to this. It's 1 John chapter 4, 16 through 19. And we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. I repeat that again. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. Ooh, that's hit hard. There is no fear in love. Ooh, man, that's giving me chills right now, everybody. Oh, there is no fear in love. I remember my mom told me that in California all the time. Perfect love casts out all fear. And that's one of the things I really held on to keep me going, because no one knew how many times I had to avoid death and the infliction upon death just to get through. I'll tell you about that another time. But perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. Now, once again, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy or boast. It is not proud, rude, or self-seeking. It is not easily angry and keeps no record of past mistakes. It does not delight in evil. It rejoices in the truth. Okay. I know we're all guilty of the anger and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, different things that come on. The anger is more of just upsetness that we have. And it's not really the anger of that fury. It's more of the frustration of the hurt, at least in my book. Another one is John chapter 15, verse 12 through 13. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. First Corinthians 16, verse 14. Do everything in love, period. Do everything in love, period. Okay. I just wanted to say that. I had to have a snippet from that. You can check out those wonderful chapters again. But think about that. That love was given to us for free, the sacrifice of free. That once we accept and we understand the embodiment of what Christ had to do and was willing to do and sit here to do for that love. So why do we tax on love though? Why do we make people jump through hoops? Why do we, and I'm not saying for all those out there who know, but even a person doing it to you, vice versa. Why do we feel like we have to go get them this or send them this, or what is it? Is it truly coming from a depth of us wanting them to just see us? Or are we trying to show them something that we want them to see that's not really in us? See, when I do mine, it hurts to the core because I want them, I actually become the person itself. And maybe that's being a starseed indigo. Maybe that's being a Heyoka empath. Maybe that's just being my clairsentience, 5 clairs status on different statuses. I'm just saying, I'm not going to downplay myself or nobody. Pero I will say that when it comes down to those things, we shouldn't have to do that. And don't take this wrong. Don't let someone come in like, oh, I just want to sit there and scratch my belly and relax and have you do everything. That's my way of loving you, is spending time with you. Nah, I don't think so. Because love is action. Now, if Christ had came and said, you know what, I love you, but I'm not going to go on this cross for you. Well, good luck, or if luck ever existed. But yeah, we'll see you later. Or someone, oh yeah, I love you so much, but I'm going to go out with this person tonight and take them out and just forget about your birthday and the anniversary and just, leave the house trash. But hey, I love you. Oh, okay. Well, I went out grocery shopping for myself and made sure I had groceries for a whole month. And I left you like $10 so you could possibly get through. Hopefully the dollar store has something left for you, But I love you. See, the difference of heaviness of love. Love is action where it comes down to, man, I know this person loves me. Not for the fact that they're willing to spend a dollar amount on you or they're willing to tell you that and love bombing as they say it, but it's the action and the feeling. You can really feel when someone loves you. Just like a puppy well, cats are a little diversified with their personalities, but you could feel when that puppy is wagging his tail at the door. Even animals who are starving will still wag their tail at the abusing person that's taking care of them, or at least come over there because they have that loyalty of love, and unfortunately they go through that. Children just the same, and parents and adults, elderly, all of them. A lot of people go through a lot of hardship. And when we don't know that kind of love and we expect taxation from it, it's almost like, oh, well, your love doesn't mean anything because I can't see it in the way I want love to be looked at as an action. I'm used to someone paying my bills. I'm used to someone paying my car. I'm used to someone getting my hair and my nails done. I'm used to someone giving me a nice suit or some nice Gucci cologne. I'm used to someone getting my car bills paid, making me look like the flyest dude or the flyest chick. I'm used to someone making sure my kids are taken care of and everything. As long as you check off the list, I can see it as love. But yet I'm not willing to love myself or go further in myself to understand what love is, to reciprocate that back to you, to give what I need back to you so I don't feel like you have to put all in me. That's not love. And the taxation is, if you're sitting there counting all the chickens before they hatch, well, guess what? All your chickens are dead anyway. You cannot sit there and put a bill on love when you haven't even paid the sacrifice of the reason why you're still here right now. You can never pay it back. But what you can do is look deep inside yourself and find that little spot that's correlating in you to break out of the matrix and get your mind right so you can get things going on to where you don't have to tax on love, but pay in your taxes. And that is being genuinely, authentically, and wholly into understanding what is. And even if you say, well, I am into this and I'm into that, and I don't pick up the Bible and I don't, and I'm into the Quran or whatever else you might do, or Jehovah's Witness or Mormon. I have friends from all over, from different diversities and backgrounds. It's not about religion, it's about truth. It's about love inside. It's more than a cliche of just meditating on a yoga mat with tea. If that's your thing, do what you do. But at the same time, it's deeper than that. Love is not a checklist. And it's also not a checklist for you to give out to someone else to pay for it. Think about it. If you're doing something and it hurts you to the point where you're like, man, I'm giving all I got and this person doesn't seem to care. Well, look at the reasons of why you're doing it and why you feel like you have to. And have you gotten yourself in a spiral? And to the point of where this person, and renege, take back. Okay, well, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing that. This is not, diabolical or anything. Don't leave the person hanging like that, but let them know, hey, I won't be able to do that. And you'll start to see, and maybe they need a wake-up call. But if it's to the point where they always need their hands out or their heart out for you to prove someone, they could have been actually fed into that because you're so overly giving that they believe that that's the way it's supposed to be. And if you take back at any time and resend, that means, oh, she don't love me or he don't love me no more. That's not a healing way. And in order to recorrect that, sometimes we have to renege and tell the person what's going on through the journey. Don't just close off and shut down. Tell them, hey, I want to be different with this. I want to see if this is authentic, right? I want, and maybe not say it all because you don't want them to start switching up for a little while, but a leopard can't change its spots, right? And that's what it is. Even if they change up and say, oh, that's cool. A couple months later, they start getting more distant, whatever else. It's different. And they should never be fully dependent upon you anyway. So it shouldn't matter if you stop doing this and that. They should have been on their stuff too. Sometimes you can make love lazy. And I just want to say that again. I almost got emotional right there. Again, but love can be lazy. Love can be like, oh, the person is just so used to having a free ATM and a vending machine with you. It doesn't even have to put any money insert, which is currency of energy and exchange and love. It can just be they push a button and whatever they push comes out. And some people, narcissistic or not, feed on that. They feed on that because that's all they know, or what you taught them, and what they see in you, or what they don't know how to control that. But you have the power to do so. Whether you're the person who taxes love, or you're the person who's getting taxed on love. Remember where love comes from. And remember that you didn't pay the ultimate price for it. You might say, well, I didn't ask to be here, but you are. We are here. And there's nothing we can do about it until our ticket's up, baby girl, baby boy. And that's what I want to leave you with. Hashtag the taxation of love. Thank you for being able to have your open hearts. I want you to really think about that and write it down. Am I being taxed on love? It doesn't matter if it's someone outside of your bloodline, and your bloodline doesn't matter. You need to go inside fully and wholly, whole, WHOL, right? WHOLLY, and go in there and start looking and go into it. I don't have time for that. Yes, you do. What do you mean you don't have time for it? Your whole life depends on it. Because if not, you're going to be looking at yourself down the line, however much time you have, and say, man, if I only would have took the month or week or a year to look at that, I would have been able to garner this whole time doing the right thing. Don't go to sleep out of this world with regrets. Okay, rest is when you close your eyes and snore and just chill out. And sleep is when you're dead, they say. Rest is when you're, quote, sleeping or getting your body that energy it needs for several hours. And sleep is when you're gone and your breath is out of your body. Don't have to do that, and you don't have to do that. So this is your girl, Alexis T, coming at you straight from the heart as always. Make sure you check us out. I will have more links and everything else going up for you for the Lex Effect. Rolling out, I know it's a work in progress, but sometimes even with the team, there's a lot that still weighs on the shoulder of what you have to do. And that's the responsibility of what you've been called to do. That's love. It's pushing through even when you don't know where it's going to come from and the cusp of how you are. And I want to feed into you as much as I feel your energy feeding into me. Even if I can't hear you verbally, I hear you spiritually. So all of you in your countries and states and cities and different places I've never even heard of, I love you. You're amazing. Thank you for your support, your listens, your downloads, your streaming. 1 equals 1 million. So even if one of you, which I know there's thousands and thousands at this point, but if one of you hear that, and if one of you can make that ripple effect, 1 million can be reached, and that 1 million can amplify and multiply. And that's the purpose of it all. So without further ado, just check us out and see what's going on inside of you. Remember to be the change, feel the passion, and embrace the power of the spirit. I love you. You're amazing. Stay up, stay blessed, and tune in as always. And we'll be back with you very, very soon.